Welcome to the Wedco podcast, where wedding wisdom meets street smarts.
We're dishing out all the tips, tricks, and wedding goss to take your wedding to the next level.
Time to ditch the formalities and get this party started. Hello and welcome to the Wedco podcast. I'm Toga.
And I'm Joel, and we're here at the incredible Redleaf Wollombi.
And today we have Lauren on the couch with us. Thank you so much for coming on, Lauren.
Thank you for having me. What a joy to be here.
It's like ever since we came across you, I think I saw maybe some photos of you at Fig Tree in Byron. You're working up there.
Yeah.
And like just as soon as I sent you an email, the reply I got through was so personable and so it was you.
All
and I was
capitals, extra yelly.
We're like, okay, we've got to have her on the podcast
Oh,
for sure.
Thanks,
So,
mate. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for coming down.
So happy to be here.
Well, maybe do you want to start with a little bit about who you are, what your brand is, and how long you've been in the industry?
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm Loz from Hungry Hearts Co. I am a marriage celebrant. The other half of our brand is Reese Boy, my husband. He's a wedding photographer. We've been in the industry for 5 years now, since February. I cannot believe it.
Yeah.
I don't know where the time has gone.
Yeah, just before COVID you jumped in. Yeah, okay.
February 23rd, 2019 was my first wedding.
Oh, wow.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane. And we're based in Newcastle. We offer a completely personalised experience for all our couples. And I guess we just our approach to weddings is telling true stories about real people.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Love it.
I love the branding. Like you can tell, is that all the branding around what you do, is that you doing that, or are you hiring an agency or something to be looking after the branding side of things?
No, we do all of our branding ourselves.
Okay.
Many hats in business, isn't there?
It
It never ends.
yeah. But just everything you're doing, you can tell it is you. Like whether it's across
thank you.
Instagram or across your website or you in person, it is the same thing.
Yeah.
And you can tell like a lot of thought has gone into that as well.
Thank you.
There isn't many brands I feel that I hate the word authentic because it's thrown around forever, but like authentic themselves at the moment.
Yeah.
Where you can tell like the person they're booking from Instagram is you.
Yeah. Well, I think that's really important. I think consistency across all the touch points, and I think building trust with your clients is so important.
Yeah.
I think by the time the couple actually gets to speak to you, they're really just confirming that you are who you said that you would be.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think then it's an easy choice for them. Like, yes, I want you to be a part of this amazing experience, or no, I don't. Running in the opposite direction.
I mean, it's like, I think we were actually even talking about it last night, where we like read someone's website or their Instagram bio or whatever it is, and they're like, oh, I'm a documentary candid photographer, and you're like, oh, you're just like throwing out like standard catchphrases. So it's like cool to come across someone that is the same on emails, the same on their website, the same on Instagram, the same at weddings. Obviously, like we've heard, I've been following you probably since you started. I'm surprised that you're only around for 5 years. I swear you were around before I was. Well, I mean, I'm 6 years, but yeah, I think you do great considering. I wouldn't say that you're a new person in the industry, but you're not like an old dog like this guy.
I'll put him out to pasture.
He's like 55 ready for it.
Oh my God, thanks guys.
But
any more nice things you've said to me, my brain is going to explode.
No, we've got none.
Yeah, no more. Cut.
And so, okay, so you got the partnership, Hungry Hucko. So are you and Reese working a lot together on a lot of your jobs?
Yeah, I'd say we probably do like 70% of our weddings together, which is really nice. But it's also good to get away from each other as well. We do everything together. We eat together, sleep together, shower together, work together. It's nice to have a little bit.
Have dinner with someone else every now and then.
Yes, exactly.
And is there a lot of travel? Like every time I see you are traveling a little bit. You're doing the Europe trips as well. Are you going back this summer?
Yeah, we leave soon actually. We've got July, Euro summer. Cannot wait.
Let's go.
Is that a separate like a company or anything that you've set up as far as the elopement wise goes?
No, just a special little package we've got.
Yeah, okay.
Which is obviously Reese doing the photography, myself doing the celebrant things. I've got to do the legal stuff here in Australia. And then we just help them plan and coordinate and give them inspiration, ideas, take them through the day.
Is this places you've travelled before so you know the areas, or like is it places you want to go to?
Funny
and you're like, this is really nice.
Well, Reese and I actually went over there last year for our honeymoon. And we were travelling around with a lot of our vendor friends, Sam included.
Yeah, okay.
And we just thought, why not do some weddings while we're over there?
Yeah.
And so, we hadn't been to Positano before.
Yeah.
We got there a few days earlier, sussed the whole place out, and then, good to go from there.
Sent it.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So you're doing a lot in Positano this time you're going over?
Yep. So this year we've got 3 elopements in Positano and then 1 big wedding in Tuscany.
Oh, amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was very cool. All 3 couples just basically sent us the images of the elopement that we'd done last year and said, we want this.
Yeah,
Like just
perfect.
exactly this. Can we do this again? Can we replicate this? And we're like,
Cut, paste.
absolutely no
Yeah,
worries.
Yeah. We're doing 15.
Yeah. Bang, bang, bang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. That sounds like fun. And so
Yeah.
is Reese similar time frame as far as like 5 years in the industry, or was he doing that
Exactly
before?
the same.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was purpose you both jumped in together?
Well, no. So I did my first wedding in February and Reese came along to take some content of me so that we could get that on our website.
Yep.
Reese has always been a photographer. He absolutely loves photography. And I had said, thoughts on doing weddings? Could we maybe, make this a joint thing? And he's like, nah, not for me. I think it might be too much pressure. Like standard photography back when we were starting, it was quite posed. Like
for
it
sure.
seemed a little bit staged.
Yep.
And he was like, no, I don't think it's for me. And went and shot this wedding for me with the photographer's permission, of course.
Yep.
And he did the photos and he's like, I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, okay.
So he did a few couple shoots and stuff like that. He really loved it. And so he was like, what the hell, let's give it a go.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Perfect.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
We reached, we reached out to a few, to our followers to hit us up with any questions that they might have for you.
Love.
So just going to hit you with a couple.
Stunning.
How do you make each wedding ceremony unique and personal to the couple?
Well, they're all written from scratch for starters.
Cool.
I think my approach to weddings is that I really like to build a relationship with my couples beforehand. I think it's impossible to tell a true story with accurate details about people that you just don't know.
Yeah.
So whether that's, catching up for drinks or over the phone, Zoom, whatever it might be.
Yep.
And then obviously sending them out a questionnaire, which I beg them to do separately because their opinions and perspectives are likely to be a little different, if not completely conflicting.
Yep.
Great storytelling for me, entertainment for them.
Yep.
And then I use both of those perspectives to intertwine and develop a story that comes from obviously both of them with heavy exaggeration by me.
Yeah.
And it's a surprise to them on the day. So they don't see the script or anything beforehand. It's all just a way for them to stay present in the moment and make sure that they're enjoying every second, not overthinking any of it.
Yeah.
And I guess the way that I personalize that is just by making sure that the story is a true reflection of them. It's their personality. It's the way they feel. It's always a balance of heartfelt to humor. And that humor for me is just giving great context and nailing the punchline of their personality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so everyone's reacting emotionally like, that's so him, that's so her, or, her and her, him and him, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
I think just making sure that they feel seen and understood and appreciated for who they are is what it's all about for me.
Yeah.
And I feel like you're doing that and you do have, grandma and grandpa in the back, but they understand the story and they get that punchline too.
Yeah.
It's going to start involving everyone and everyone just
Yeah.
gets on board with it.
Absolutely, of course. And I think also vows are really important to me.
Yep.
I'm a very wordy gal. So helping my couples with their vows to articulate their feelings and then basing the ceremony kind of around that. So if they've got some inside jokes or something personal in there, if I can give great context, it means by the time they get to the vows, everyone can feel that emotion with them rather than being like, this seems funny, but I'm not sure why.
Yeah. Especially like wedding ceremonies are like the point of weddings.
Yeah.
Like that's we're here to get married.
Yeah,
so like it's the
exactly.
point. And like we've even talked to other celebrants where they're like, oh, the reason I got into weddings was because I went to a wedding and the celebrant sucked and it was boring and the ceremony was terrible and I was like falling asleep and whatever.
Snooze
Is
fest.
that like a similar thing to you? Is that kind of why you got into?
No,
No.
not at all. I'd actually only ever been to one wedding prior to becoming a celebrant. I barely remember it. I got into weddings because I love storytelling. I
Yeah.
really love the way that stories can bring people together, whether it's 100 people reading the same novel or 100 vaguely familiar guests sitting in line to watch a ceremony.
Yeah.
I think it's just really special the way that stories can bond people and make them feel like they're included and a part of something bigger than them.
Yep.
And that's why I love being a celebrant because I get to write these amazing stories and make everyone feel something when I read them.
Yeah. you mind me asking, what were you doing before Celebrants?
I spent a lot of time in retail management, like fashion retail, and then I went into marketing
Yeah.
for a fleet tracking and telematics company.
Yeah.
Don't ask me what that is. I still don't know.
You don't know.
And I hated being in a little box with no windows. Was not for me.
Yeah.
I was also writing professional resumes and cover letters for people.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's actually how I first had the idea to become a celebrant, because one of my clients came back and said, "Oh, you really nailed my personality in this resume.
Yeah.
sick.
Could you write my vows?" I was like,
And ChatGPT wasn't around
no,
yet.
not yet. And I was just like, please, absolutely yes.
Yeah.
So I called him and interviewed both he and his fiance.
Yeah.
And wrote their vows. And after the wedding, they said, "We wish you had have been our celebrant because you understood us so much more than they did." And I was just like, ding.
Light bulb.
Applied for my celebrant course that day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. I was just trying to get engaged. Like you've got a very polished, you're talking about copywriting and everything like that. You can tell you've had a background in that field somewhere. Like you're very talented in that aspect.
Yeah. Thank you.
No worries. But I feel like there's so many, myself included, where you just kind of, you'll set up a website and you're like, yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
And then you're like, you just kind of keep going down the line and you're like, everything's just okay.
Yeah.
Instead of just like paying someone like yourself to just get everything amazing from the start.
Yeah.
There isn't many vendors that just have like the whole package where they actually cared about their branding and building it all out.
Yeah, 100%. I actually just launched a new business called Saver, where it is me assisting brands to develop their voice through copywriting and like consulting and branding and stuff like that. So this is very nice of you to say, because I'm like, oh, great.
Let's move down that track.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
cool.
awesome.
Yeah.
I can't see my phone. Hot tip on making vows. Epic.
I would say
Maybe let's talk about the guide a little bit.
Yeah,
go down
of
that track.
course, yeah. Well, I created How to Vow, the vow guide, based on having a lot of my couples in the early days being like, I don't know what to say, I'm not confident speaking. There was one groom in particular who decided he would wing it.
Yeah.
Horrifying
Went really well.
experience for all. It was my third wedding and I wasn't confident enough to say,
Don't
you dare, you silly little man. But his wife had gone and written these incredible vows. Like her words were so powerful and meaningful. And he had great chat. He had great banter. Very articulate guy. And he was like, oh, I really just want to win. And I was like, okay, like, sure. And the morning of the wedding, I saw him and I was like, have we got any notes?
Yeah.
You got some prompts? And he's like, oh, I've been looking at some memes on Instagram. Okay. Great.
That sounds like a wedding speech, not your vows.
So anyway, she went first with her vows and then, moved the mic over to him and he was a mess. He had nothing to say. He literally was just gobsmacked at how amazing her words were. And he said, I don't have anything to say. And he just said, I love you. And his legal part, and that was it.
Yeah, okay.
And then the vow guide started.
Next
mentally,
day.
But 40 minutes later.
Yeah. So I guess that's just the vow guide is a whole different range of approaches to vows, examples of how to say those vows, and then like pages upon pages of categorized one-liners that people can read through, pinch and pretend they came up with on their own or adjust to make it more them. But I give that to all of my couples and they all love it because they're like, wow, this has just given me a great insight. It's a great starting point.
Yeah.
Inspiration, education, all the things you could possibly need to make something that feels true and makes you confident when saying them.
Because I feel like that's the hardest part is, like you said, the starting part and just having like almost the format written down for you there.
Yeah.
And then you can kind of adjust from there.
Yeah. And everyone approaches vows very differently. And I don't think it's about saying anything in particular. It's just about being honest and being genuine. And that's all that really matters.
Yeah.
So,
What's your thoughts on people potentially using ChatGPT for their vows?
I think you can always tell.
Okay.
I don't know if it's just me that can tell, but I think it just comes across as a little ingenuine. I think ChatGPT has a way of writing that is just not human because obviously it's AI.
Yeah.
And I find that when people are like trying to use ChatGPT, they stumble through it. it just feels artificial because it is.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Like I'll do titles for this. I'll like ChatGPT, like gives you 10 titles for this one, like for this
Yeah.
podcast, and you get them, you're like, nope.
Yeah.
And like you take like a word from this, a word from this, a word from this. Like
Make
it's just,
this more human.
and
Literally.
It's just this,
Be a human.
Yeah. But they are all essentially the same, just formatted a tiny little bit different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no matter what field you're in, whatever you do, it's kind of all comes out the same way.
Yeah. I think ChatGPT is like buying like an Aldi cake mix and expecting it to come out of the oven a fully fledged wedding cake.
Yeah,
it
Marina
just doesn't
Machado
happen.
cake.
Yeah, it just doesn't work.
Yeah, that's fair. Favorite and least favorite trend / tradition of a ceremony.
Ooh, favorite and least favorite.
For an example,
Yes.
we spoke to a celebrant, and we as photographers and videographers love first looks.
Yes.
She doesn't like first looks. And it was
Yeah.
the first we kind of actually heard that first look sucked from a perspective, because she felt like it was robbing from that ceremony moment where mum gets to see her son look at his bride, or, that kind of thing for the first time. So, anything like that.
Yeah, I disagree. I love first looks. I'll maybe come back to that later.
Let's go.
Probably my least favorite is the wedding party.
Yep.
Controversial. I think there's a lot of pressure on wedding parties to deliver hype, energy, whatever. And there's a lot of expectation from the couple that they are going to get this level of gusto from their wedding party that isn't always possible because there's so many other things going on in their life.
Yeah.
I really value when it's just the couple coming in on their own, doing everything themselves and including their special people in a different way, rather than asking them all to dress the same and fit a brief that they may not fit into.
Yeah.
I really, really think it's nice for everyone to be able to experience the wedding in the best way possible, which just isn't always standing up the front, pretending it doesn't hurt to smile, having no idea why you're up there.
The guys are all staring into the sun. You can see them like sweating. You're like, dude, just sit down.
Yeah. And I think it is a nice idea, like telling these people how much they mean to you. But in the end, it's just a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
So much pressure for them.
Yeah.
My favorite.
And it doesn't really add anything.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen weddings where it's just been the couple standing up the front, and that's that. And they do the morning of and all that with their friends, but it's just them.
Yeah.
I've seen ones where they have their bridal party sit in front row, or even second row. They have mum and dad and that sit front row, and it's beautiful. I don't think that takes away from not having a line of girls on one side and boys, or whatever that looks like. I don't think it takes away. So I kind of agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's so many other ways to make these people feel included. Like getting ready. Like Reese and I had our closest friends get ready with us here the morning of our wedding, and it was beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, they came and wore whatever they wanted. They sat with their partners in the crowd and got to engage in the ceremony the same way everyone else does.
Yeah. Party till 4:30 at night.
Yes, very
Made it feel
true.
real special.
My favourite, Vows, definitely, without question.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's a fair point, actually. Even if you're in the bridal party and you're like, it's a traditional bridal party, you don't really see your partner for the day.
Yeah.
Like, I've been in a couple of bridal parties, and Shannon, my wife, just kind of has to rock up, and we almost might see each other here and there, but like she sits over there and I'm at the bridal table or like that sort of thing. It is a bit disjointed.
Yeah.
So I guess that wouldn't be the case if you weren't doing it as traditional.
Yeah, and I think there are so many ways if you really did want to have a wedding party, there's so many ways to make it a bit more integrated and seamless, where they do get to hang out with their partner, spouse, whoever throughout the day. But to me, just the sense of having these people stand together, like they're your friends, but they may not be friends with each other. They don't know each other. It's like, just let them sit with their people. Just let them enjoy the day.
Yeah.
Give them a break.
You guys just focus on getting married and being you two. Yeah.
And also, most people aren't friends with their bridal party for the next 10 years,
Oh, the worst thing is
I feel like
when
almost all of them are just, move apart.
I think it's really tricky when, especially if you're asking someone to be in your wedding party like 12 to 18 months out.
Yeah.
That's
Can you believe she got pregnant?
Yeah,
she got pregnant for my wedding.
She did it on purpose.
The trauma. honestly, or like, you know, you hear horror stories. I haven't had this from any of my couples, but I hear horror stories about like, you know, you've gained weight, you need to lose weight because I'm not altering
crazy.
the dress. You know, it's like, please don't do that.
Yeah. How do you feel about drinks? So a lot of venues we work out, you kind of get there, the bus will arrive or whatever, and they'll have like champagnes and everything like
Love,
that.
love, adore. Best idea ever.
Awesome.
Must.
Yep,
Please.
we love it too.
Yeah.
But yeah, we just heard opposite views for that one as well.
Of what?
Of like champagnes and stuff, arrival and
Pre-ceremony.
ceremony.
Love
Yeah.
Love it, adore it. The best.
For sure. As long as it's monitored. I've seen one wedding. I didn't shoot it, but I saw one wedding and the guests rocked up. I guess they all rocked up on a bus, but it was like super early. And I swear half the people were like trash before the ceremony.
Were you the one that was trashed?
Yeah, exactly.
Is that how we got here?
It was actually it was a confession. Oh, too good. No, that's great. I really like that on the bridal party. How do we know who's the right celebrant for us?
I think it's really important to chat with a few different celebrants and find out what is important to them and assess whether the same thing is important to you, you the couple, not you too.
We could be.
Well, yeah, you never know. When I say that, I mean like, for instance, all my scripts are written from scratch and I really value forming that relationship with my couple. I am very enthusiastic when I'm telling the story, yet the atmosphere is very casual. I'm really relaxed about, you know, the whole thing. If you wanted something really formal, traditional, etc., you'd be running from me. You would not want a bar of me. 100%. I would ruin your day.
Yeah.
And I think that's just really important to go, okay, cool. So these people seem, as you said, cool online, but what are they like in person? How do they make me feel when I speak to them? Am I excited? Am I at ease?
Yeah.
Am I bored?
Yeah.
You know, and just make sure that works.
Because it is a thing. Like I've spoken to a couple of my couples and they're like, they'll ask, they'll be like, what who's the celebrant that you reckon? And I'm like, what do you want? And they're like, I think I just want someone that's just kind of like my grandma. Just like stand there. She's like a really sweet old lady. And I want it like really traditional. I'm like, sweet, like go this route.
Yeah.
But then if you're like, no, I want someone that's like invest in us and they tell our story and it's fun and like people are laughing. I just want it to be a fun vibe. I don't want people sitting there bored. You're like, cool, this is your type.
Yeah.
The dude with the chaps and the whip.
Yeah.
Monty Harron.
Yeah.
Love
Man.
Monty Harron.
Those are some nice butt cheeks.
They're great butt cheeks. They are very good butt cheeks.
She's asking for grandma.
Can
You're like, go
confirm.
with this too.
Yeah. He is definitely not my grandma. So, I think we touched on this before, but do you do your weddings internationally?
Yes.
I was like, what? You're a vibe and we need you at our wedding.
Okay. I'm there.
I'll be there.
Done.
As long as it's Positano and this is the setup.
Yeah. So your destination weddings, you can organise weddings, both elopement and like full-blown weddings.
Yeah,
Cool.
absolutely. The legal part, as I said, needs to be done in Australia. For example, Reese and I are marrying and photographing a couple in Tuscany in July, which is really exciting. And we on Saturday went out with them on a boat, Sydney Harbour, and did their legals only ceremony.
Epic.
Took a few little snaps there, had some wine as a sunset. It was so romantic.
Yeah.
And I love that we can offer that here and a ceremony, a story over there.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
very special.
What do you think for them? Do they celebrate the Australian wedding date or the Tuscany wedding date?
Well, I've got 3 wedding dates and I can tell you now I don't know. I think we'll have to celebrate all 3.
All of them.
Yeah, okay. Because I've got my Italian one and we've got one where we got legally married in Australia and we definitely celebrate the Italian one.
Yep.
But I was just like, it
was cooler.
Just interested. Yeah, I know it is.
Yeah. Did you make something of your legal ceremony? Did you make that special?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like in a park, like we lived in Nobbies on the Gold Coast at that time.
Beautiful.
So we just had like 30 friends, in a park with an awesome celebrant, Annie. And just kind of we took tables down to the beach and did like a big thing down at the beach as well.
Nice.
So it was really nice.
Yeah.
It was no Italy, but but it was nice. Like we were really trying to do the legals in Italy as well.
Yeah.
But just an absolute mission, especially I think we had 3 kids at the time. So trying to go to like consulates and all that kind of stuff was just
You
a
definitely
mission.
can do it over there, but just a different experience. One of our couples that eloped last year had the legal part at the consulate.
Yeah.
It was just very monotone. Someone was speaking Italian, obviously. And then they had a translator who was just like blah, 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 which was just, to me, boring. But then they did their personal vows, which was really sweet and exciting and lovely. So, yeah.
Spice it up a little.
Yeah, I definitely like they're doing the legals here and then that over there.
Yeah.
Because then you can just,
gives you an opportunity to include more people as well. Like, you know, if Nan and Pa can't come over, include them in the legal ceremony, make that special for them as well.
Yeah,
Definitely.
for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Cool. Question there? No,
That's good.
Oh, awesome. All right. Well, I'm going to go on with some of mine then as well. As far as, florists and stuff going over to Europe with you, like you've got obviously yourself and Reese.
Yes.
Do you have do you have a team that's going over with you?
No, we're going over with John and Chelsea from More Life Films, who are just the most elite species on earth. And we'll be doing most of our weddings with them over there, which is really, really exciting. But this year, no, it's just us going over there.
Okay. And is this going to be a regular thing? You're just going to try and get back to Europe most summers?
Yeah. Next year, I think we're going to go to America.
Yep.
And then we'll see after that where the wind blows us.
Yeah. And the good thing is, I guess, like legally grey, but like at least if they're Australian and you're getting your Australian clients and everything like that, and we're just going over there to get married, it's all G kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Oh,
so exciting. Nice. I can't believe this is our job. Like, blows my mind every day. I think about it and I'm like, what the hell?
And then I also saw you've got the timeline guide soon.
Yes.
I don't think it's launched just yet.
No, not yet.
That's definitely like a hard point for. It's really easy to do once you sit down and actually 100%. Do it.
Yes.
But it's still a pain to I've got to do the timeline.
Yeah.
So I think we kind of send out to clients, if you're getting married at 3:00, then usually we're going to be doing, preps at this time. First dance is going to be here. We're going to be out at this time. Is it a similar kind of thing where you're just kind of giving a baseline of where everything would be?
Yes. And also what we want to do is kind of just give ideas and inspiration on what you can do throughout the day to make it personal and unique to you.
Okay.
Something that Reese and I always try and convince our couples to do is to spend maximum time in cocktail hour, mingling with everyone, having the best time. Reese is usually quite quick with his photos. They're all just, based on movement and interaction. So he only needs 15, 20 minutes for that.
Yeah.
And the whole rest of the time is just a couple enjoying themselves.
Yeah.
And so we're just trying to give ideas on how to structure the day to have that mingling time.
Yeah.
So many people miss out on it. And I'm like, that's the best part of the day.
Yeah, for
After
sure.
the ceremony, of course.
Yeah. And I feel like we've talked about it before, but where that is the trend at the moment where people are moving more towards enjoying the party than being off of photos for 2 hours.
Yeah. And there's still so many people that are so shocked by this. They're like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
I can eat the canapes. I can drink the cocktails. Oh my God. And it's so exciting, but it's like, people just don't know.
Yeah.
And I guess that's what we have to assume with all our couples. If we don't tell them, they may not know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
And having 20 minutes at Gold now is plenty for couple shots. We've got the shots. Yeah. And then you're going to get more while they are interacting, having their canapes and everything like that. You're going to get a lot more shots like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's really nice to have, some of those candid moments with your family and friends.
Definitely.
Are the most important. Like looking back at our gallery, there's photos of me just hugging my dad, that's more special to me than me standing beside him.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
That shows our connection. That's like a real life. That's a moment and a feeling that I can keep forever, as opposed to just me standing there smiling, looking back and go, oh, I know that I was hating that.
Yeah.
I was very thirsty.
Yeah.
But here I am hugging my dad. It's just stunning.
Yeah. I got a photo of my mum in a conga train at our wedding.
Love that.
And I think there's 6 people in a row or something like that. It's not planned whatsoever. It just was happening.
Yeah.
That's the best.
Yeah.
So good. Just those little moments. And even if come back to photography wise, I feel like editorial was the word of the year last year. Documentary is the word of the year this year. And people are kind of moving towards that.
Yeah.
So it will be really interesting. You're saying, 5 years ago it was very posed, which almost come back to editorial. You're moving back into that element. And now then documentary essentially is completely opposite to that again now. So it's really hard to I guess gauge and move with where the trends are going.
Yeah.
But also realistically higher end weddings are going to be moving this year into that documentary style. So in 2 years, the lower end ones are going to be moving into that style.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. There's always a lag.
I feel like it really just depends on the couple's value, what they value and what they prioritize on their day. Like some people are really aesthetics driven and they're like, I want this exact photo of me in this pose, in this dress, blah, blah, blah. Great. Whereas a lot of other people are like, I just want to enjoy the day.
Yeah.
I really don't want to think. I don't want to be asked to do anything.
Yep.
I just want to go and have fun, and you just capture me looking good and having a great time.
Yeah, for sure.
Easy.
It's a hard one from photography because like the shots you could get if you directed.
Yeah.
But also you want to just kind of stand back and get the shots. You're not going to get the same caliber of shot
Yes.
if you just stand back. So it's so tricky to be like, man, I think most wedding photographers, as much as they seem like they're outgoing, most of them introverts. And it's just on the day they put on the persona and then they go back into their shell.
Yeah.
I think if every wedding photographer could be a documentary style photographer, they'd be like, yes.
Yeah.
like, I mean, you're probably still doing family photos and everything like that.
of course.
But if you could just stand back and I'm just fly on the wall, I'm taking photos, that would be the dream. But it would be so hard that I would feel like the couples would be disappointed that they're not getting this golden hour portraits and everything. They're going to miss that if I'm not going to direct that as well.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
So, so just my 2 cents, just thinking about it last night.
Yeah. I think like something that I love about Reese is that, you know, if a couple is sitting down and eating their meal, he will never say, all right, up you get, let's go.
Yep.
He's like, you enjoy that meal and I'll work with the time that I've got to get you great images because I want you to enjoy every part of this day and I want you to remember how you felt in this moment rather than, as I said, standing next to my dad going, oh, I'm thirsty. He doesn't want them to think, oh, I was dragged away from my dinner to get these photos.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I think there's a subtle art to making people feel good and capturing them looking good at the same time.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that's what makes a lot of photographers so good because it's like just the way they see and do things is just
we were actually saying it just before with Matt from Redleaf where there's so much more to whatever it is, not just photography or like there's so much more to you being a good photographer.
Yes.
Like you're putting out fires or you're like managing people or like I think the big one, and it kind of comes into territory with what we were just discussing with like the timeline is hugely underrated.
Yes.
I find you avoid say 90% of those where the couple's eating and you want to drag them out because the sun's going. I feel like you avoid 90% of those if you get a really good run sheet. Yeah. Like you plan out your run sheet where they're doing first dance here or they're cool. You guys join canapé hour here. You're there for 40 minutes. Then I'm going to take the bridal party out or, like that kind of thing. We're going to do 15 minutes bridal party. Then they're back in, finish with you guys for 10 minutes. Then we're back into your like entrance or like, however that looks. Working with, again, sometimes I do video only at weddings. And so I work with a photographer and I swear like half of them are useless at just like managing time.
Yeah.
And like their run sheets are terrible. They're just whipped up on their notes on their phone or something. And whereas mine's like a document, I go through and I'm like, cool, we got this here. And like, I don't know. I feel like run sheets and timeline management is just like so underrated.
100%. I also think being flexible with those things is really important.
100%.
Like we had a wedding not long ago. We're at Crinklewood. Have you been there?
No.
Very nice. We're at Crinklewood and it was a clear day, but there was rain incoming. And Reese was just like on the weather app and he's like, okay, I can see it's going to be raining in like 40 minutes from now. We'll just quickly go get some portraits while we've got sun.
So you're not dripping wet.
Yeah. And then you can come back and enjoy because it doesn't matter where you're having cocktail hour. If it's raining, you're undercover, you're happy, no worries. So we just went and took them out and the day was just fine. And I just think that's important to be able to make that call and go, what's going to make your experience best?
Yeah. We're working recently where I was like looking at this light up and I was looking at the sun and I was like, that sun's gone in like 15 minutes tops. And I like the photographer is just kind of like, oh yeah, like whatever. And I was like, bro. I was like, all right, I'm not going to you. So I just went to the couple and I was like, that sun's gone in 10 minutes. They're like, sweet, let's go up there. And I was like, all right, let's go.
Yeah.
Like,
you
just
got to take action sometimes. And it's just being confident in your own abilities and knowing there is a lot of times where you've got to pull the trigger where you wanted to give the couple an hour for canapé hour.
Yeah.
But like you said, the rain is coming or something like that. And you're like, dude, let's go for 20 minutes and then we'll get back in time.
Yeah.
But it does take a certain kind of confidence in your ability that you're just going to do it.
Yes.
Because it does happen early in your career where you don't do that and then it starts raining and you miss it. And you're like, oh, that's on me.
Yeah.
And like then you've got to take responsibility of shooting inside in some crappy light.
Yeah.
And when you could have just done it earlier on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's just you learn a lot along the road.
Anyway, you're a celebrant, so
all about balance, right? You got to balance your knowledge of what's happening, the elements, and then also what your couple are doing, how they're feeling, and just making sure you just tie it all up together in a neat little bow.
That's it. That's it. Do you ever shoot with Reese?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it so much.
Talking business-wise, like how are you trying to set yourself apart from other celebrants at the moment?
I think just being present for my couples and making them know that this is their day and I want to enhance that. Like I'm about bringing the vibe, magnifying the vibe, making sure that it is a complete, true reflection of who they are.
Yep.
And just them knowing that I'm there for them. I'm like an extension of their wedding party. I just want them to have the best time and I'll bend over backwards to make sure that happens.
Yeah. And I think even having the guides there as well, like obviously inadvertently is bringing more value to them.
Yeah.
And it kind of does lift you up as someone, as an authority figure in the field.
Yep.
Like I've been around long enough that I know this makes a really good ceremony.
Yeah.
So it kind of like lifts you above everyone else as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Are you still getting, is it Instagram pretty heavy for bookings for you at the moment?
Yeah, I think a lot of people find us on Instagram, which is great, but a lot of it is also word of mouth. Like I think as a celebrant, when you're going to a ceremony, you're essentially auditioning to 20 to 150 people who may also be getting married or have a friend getting married, a daughter or son, whatever.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the times the people that just go, yep, 100%, I want to lock you in, done, are the people who have seen me in action and go, I want that.
Yep, definitely.
Which is awesome.
Yep. And I think even making partnerships with venues, they're probably, outside of other couples, venues recommendations probably have to be the next big thing. Like someone comes from a venue, you're almost locked in already.
Yeah. I think recommended vendors are so important. Like it's giving credibility. It's just like I'm somewhat like if it's a venue, it's like you trust and value the venue and they trust and value this person they're recommending to you. So it's sort of like an easy, like, they must be good.
Yeah. Do you do anything consciously to build those relationships with venues or other vendors?
Yeah, always. I definitely, when I'm a part of a wedding, I want to be helping everyone as much as I can. Like I think it's very much about having a team mentality and approaching the wedding as a collective rather than just being like, okay, I'm the celebrant, I'm here to set up my gear and then do the job and then I leave. Like I really want to be a part of that team. Like I'm always heading over to the videographer and being like, here's my mic, do you want to sync it up? Do you want to do a mic check? You know, whatever. I want to help you do the best of your job that I can because we're a team. Or the photographer, like, here's what we've got in the ceremony. Can I do anything for you? Do you need me to be anywhere at this point? Like, I'm going to help them sign the white certificates and then I'll move for the yellow one. So just know that you'll get your shot. I'm not going to be in the way the whole time. Or, even the caterer, like, do you need extra time? Can I help you? Do I need to announce something? Like helping with family photos.
Even like group photo, like the biggest difference, like a celebrant just having a mic and like, hey guys, we're about to do a group photo over there.
Yes.
That is such a big help.
Yeah.
And it's like, it feels like you've already been on the mic. It's not intimidating for me to jump up on a ladder like, hey guys, like it's like the biggest help, just even those simple things.
And it's probably not something that you want to do anyway because you've got photos to take. That's your job, not wrangling guests.
Yeah.
And I think just being accommodating with each other is so important. I think that goes a long way, and I think couples don't know how valuable that is to have a team that wants to work together to put out all those fires so they never have to know about them.
Yeah, definitely.
And it seems like you got a pretty strong knit community in Newcastle.
Yes, we have an amazing community here.
Yeah. Was that a conscious effort? Were you all separate vendors and then met through weddings, or how did that come about?
Yeah, definitely meeting at weddings, but also the Wedding Social Co, which Sam was the creator of. Yeah, well, the founding father, yes. It originally started off as, I think it was a wedding collective. Someone else was in charge of it, but Sam took it over and created this co-working space where we all go every day and do our work. And it just is such an amazing space for collaboration and support. And we're all so enthusiastic about each other's success. And I think that's just him having that space for us has magnified the connection that we all have. Like, we're all really great friends. And it extends to, the wider Newcastle community as well. Like, we just want to see everyone do well. There's enough weddings for all of us. And I think when everyone comes to the table exactly as they are, you can see that each of us are the best fit for a different person. So yeah, I think everyone in Newcastle is quite close and connected in that way. Like, we always want to help each other and build each other up, which is really special.
And are you still at that co-work space now?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. How many like people work out of that space?
I think there's 8 of us in there now, but we're actually about to move to a new space and have some opportunities for more people to come in. So that's exciting.
Amazing. And so it is just a mix of different vendors as well there?
Yep. Photographers, videographers, wedding planners, video guest books, DJs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whole little
sick.
mixed bag in there.
That's really cool. I feel like that is next level. Like everyone is, community, like as a catchphrase.
Yeah.
But
100%.
actually having that space where you go to every day and just catch up. And like
Yeah.
you said, it is like when Joel books a wedding, I'm super stoked as long as he didn't steal that off of me, which happens all the time. No, but like we're super stoked when someone else books a wedding. You're like, yes, that's sick. It is really nice. And especially if there were other people in industries like florists and everything like that to be able to help out. Like, hey, I'm trying out this new floral arrangement and you've got a photographer and a videographer in-house with you.
Yeah.
And like, cool, let's build this and go take it somewhere and take some
Yeah.
photos and just like help everyone build.
Yeah.
There's so much more growth in that than just trying to do it by yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you kind of just, I feel like so many people are drowning at the moment and it's just because they're by themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think being in the wedding industry, when you've got your own business, as we know, we're wearing so many hats, it can be quite daunting and isolating to be doing on your own.
Yeah.
And I think when you reach out to other vendors and you create a network where you can be collaborating creatively constantly.
Yeah.
God, some alliteration in there. I think it just makes a world of difference to your confidence and your willingness to try new things, and it just gives you a new perspective. It opens your mind, and you just start doing things.
Success is infectious.
Yeah.
So if you're
Absolutely.
around someone that's crushing it, you're going to crush it because
Yeah.
again, that person that's crushing it isn't going to be like, gimme. They're going to be like,
Yeah.
dude, you need to do this, and
Yeah.
this. Like same thing. Like if you're struggling, they're going to help you out. You can ask for help, like all those types of things. I think like just so many people are trying to, and I definitely fell trap into this early. I still had Steve there when I was growing mine, but like you're just very much like, oh, we've got to wear, like you said, we've got to wear all these hats.
Yeah.
And it's almost like an egotistical thing. Like, no, I want to do everything.
Yeah.
And you're like, dude, just like chill,
Yeah.
like outsource this or run this better or run it like we look at these photographers that are running their business like a business and you're like, oh, they're crushing it.
Yeah.
And their photos are beautiful because they're not sitting at their computer for 400 hours
Yeah.
a night, like trying to just grind out their editing or whatever.
Yeah.
They're like, they're taking rest where they need it. They're, so they can be the best that they can be.
Yeah. And rest is so important. And I think as well, like when you're working at home alone and you're like, oh, I've got a lot going on, the peak of wedding season, March, April, you're like, oh my God, I'm so busy. I can't, I have to devote everything I have to these weddings so that they're good.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're working in a co-space like that, it's like, no, you need to rest.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like I'm facing the same challenges as you, but I can guarantee you need rest.
Yeah.
And
for sure.
that's so powerful to have someone who you trust and respect say, this is what you need to do.
Yeah. I feel like that'd be a pretty easy way to switch off.
Yeah.
Because you're just like, cool, I'm going home.
Yes.
Whereas I'm like, I close the door and then I'm like, I get an email. I'm like, I'm opening the door.
Yeah, the boundary is very important.
Yeah.
But also if you have that network of 6 or 7 people, this industry can still be gross. There's still people that like, oh, you're getting something, I'm going to come say hello to you now. You know, like people that are doing well and they're going to try and slide in, like podcasts, 100%. Like people that would never speak to me as a photographer, all of a sudden you got the podcast like, hey man, what's going on? You're like,
Really?
shut up. Yeah, like it's so sleazy.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
But I feel like having like it just is. But I just feel like if you've already got that community of 6 or 7 people that are genuine, you don't need anything else.
Yeah.
You know, like you've already got your community there.
Definitely.
And it just doesn't feel fake, which I love.
Yeah. And we've all become such good friends. Like we all traveled Europe last year together and it was the most amazing experience.
Yeah.
Like they were all guests at our wedding. It's like, some of the most amazing, beautiful, wonderful, genuine friendships that we've ever had are these people in our co-working space.
Yeah,
They just get it.
Yeah. Well, Redleaf said they're focusing on winter weddings next year, but all you guys are overseas.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to come back home. You're going to have to do Australia winter, all right?
Literally.
So
I love Aussie
we'll
winter.
come down. We'll snipe it.
Awesome. All right, were there any other tips or hints that you want to give to our couples out there? Or other celebrants coming into the world?
Yeah, look, for couples, I think it's really important just to remember, like, this is your day and you should do it based on things that are going to bring you joy. In my opinion, having a wedding is like building your own version of Wonderland and inviting everyone that you love into it to enjoy the things that you enjoy most.
Yep.
And I think it's just important to remember that weddings don't have, there's nothing you have to have or that you have to do if you don't really want to do it.
Yep.
So just take the opportunity to make your Wonderland and enjoy it for what it is, because you get this day once, probably, hopefully, with everyone that you love at once.
Yep.
So
Espresso martini towers, yes or no?
You're messy.
Yeah, that's what I think.
we had espresso martinis come out in place of our cake. So when we finished our speech, we were like, there's no dessert. I'm a celiac. I was like, oh my God, gluten-free cake. No one wants to eat it.
No one wants that mush.
No, or hard mush at that. So we just had like roaming espresso martinis for everyone. It kicked off the dance hall. Like everyone got into gear.
Yeah.
And that's another, that's us.
Yeah.
Having a cake, not really for us. So we did something a little bit differently. And I think just be confident in making your choices. Go to your vendors, get recommendations, ask them what they've seen and loved, and then find a way to make it your own. And you will have the best day of your life.
Amazing.
Love
All right.
it.
And where can people find you?
I'm on Instagram, hungryhearts_co or www.hungryheartsco.com.
What about other vendors that want help with marketing and whatnot and copywriting?
Savor Creative,
Yep.
www.savorcreative.com.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, thank you
was
for having
awesome.
me, guys. This has been great.
Loved
I don't
it.
want to stop. I don't want to leave.
Espresso martinis out the back.
Action.
Done. Awesome. Thanks so much, Loz.
Thanks for tuning in to the Wedco podcast. We're dropping a fresh episode every week featuring industry professionals dishing out the wedding wisdom you need to turn those dreams into reality. Make sure you are following us on social media, you have those notifications turned on so we can help plan your wedding day. Your dream wedding day just got a whole lot easier. Thanks for listening.